So in my own life, it's interesting because I have a fulfilling relationship, and I'm somebody who's quite masculine naturally. I've got a lot of hair. I got high testosterone, and so like I've never had issues with sex drive. But even still, I've noticed, if I'm being honest, that even though I'm in the happiest relationship I've ever been, I'm so sexually attracted to my partner. She's fit and beautiful, and it's a flowy, easy, pretty easy relationship now. We're almost 3 years in, but we still somehow have that sexual tension. But I noticed that in those weeks when I am using the porn to alleviate the stress after the workday, or to eliminate a headache or an eye ache after work, or just for like a state change, I do notice that connection is a lot less deep, a lot less strong and charged. Like sometimes you can get lost in it. It's almost a spiritual experience having really good sex. But that's just like, I feel like I almost start going through the motions with my partner. And so I could see how over time that could really affect my sex life. And I'm somebody that wouldn't even define that I have a problem with it, but, because I use it so infrequently, probably just a couple of times a month at this point. But it's like, I could see how it could get its claws in there, and it'd be a hard thing to unwind.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head talking about the spiritual connection of what love is, and that bond and that the energetic levels of it. And one thing when you were discussing that was the notion of like the no fat movement. I think, understanding that porn and masturbation together are not what I deem healthy. Just based on my experience, there's tons of research out there, whether or not that research is funded by a porn industry or not. For me, my own research is my issues and my struggles. But just looking at the connection and no FAP and how the energetic levels of when semen retention, the energetic levels of a man when he hasn't released are far more greater. And then the desire to actually connect with another human being, again, we said it earlier, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, whatever it is far greater. But your desire can definitely burn off if you are getting yourself off and watching. Just even for myself, I noticed in times where I go on a streak of, let's say, 2 weeks to a month where I haven't watched any porn or haven't even got myself off, I feel better about myself. And I don't know if it's the aura of my energy field around me is powerful, but I do notice when I'm walking around, I get looked at more often by the opposite sex. And it's this strong attraction. And it's not because I'm like walking around like a big macho man or anything like that, or just a confident, and I've tried to remember that anytime I am thinking about going back into porn. It's like I lose that every time I get myself off to porn, and I don't want to lose that again.
That's interesting. I've noticed the exact same thing. It's like when I'm walking around with a loaded gun, so to speak, and I have that like, yeah, that masculine, like, that whatever that is, the animalistic, like I want to take you energy towards my partner.
Yeah. And to interrupt, it's going back to our Neanderthal ancestry. That's how it was, right? There was this, I don't want to call it like the male strong masculine, but it was like, yes, very animal-like, loving, and sex is lovemaking, but there's that very like, this is not necessarily mine, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to, have it. Whereas now it can easily get dissipated by just sitting in front of your computer. I don't need to go out. I mean, we've our relationship stems many years, but going into the dating world and getting yourself out there again and having motivation to just go date and try to pick up women is definitely dropped off because, well, instead of getting rejected, I'd rather just stay at home and be comfortable and watch some porn and get myself off to it. And I'd be happy. And I know that's a lot of men are doing that right now who are single. They lose that burning desire to connect and be with a real woman.
I think that's part of the reason why it's such a sticky trap for single guys that have had poor experiences as well, because the brain's job is to keep us away from pain, like rejection, and its job is to save energy wherever possible. And so, like, yeah, if you're looking at going out for a night, going out to a bar, yelling "hey" to a bunch of women in like in a loud room and getting shot down a bunch, which is like every guy's experience. That's most of my dating experience. as successful as I was, and as many great people as I got to be in relationships with, that's most of it. And it's time consuming and energy draining. I understand why. Just jerking off and then watching sports and eating chips would be a attractive alternative, you know?
Painted a nice picture there.
Yeah,
Kind of
well,
chip. Doritos, nacho cheese.
probably Doritos, yeah, because those seem like they're the messiest. Yeah, totally. Just go straight
Yeah,
to the Doritos after.
yeah, and I've seen it in some of the groups that I've facilitated in men's group where a couple guys are single and they're talking about their struggles and anxiety around going out and dating, just even like the communication between trying to get a date. And you can understand why a lot of men would turn away from that, because that anxiety can lead to some sadness and depression. And when it doesn't work out, where do they turn to? I did it for many, many years. You're batting 1,000 when you flick on whatever that porn is you're watching. You never get denied by it. It's always there. And it's always comforting you. And we have to turn away from that discomfort and that parasite that is this industry.
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage guys to, instead of taking the easy route, go out there and get shot down and get your reps in and learn to talk to people. I mean, that's how you learn, right? That is, and if you can like actually get to know and fall in love with the game, right? It's often the people that are most successful in business. They just love the game that they're playing. And it's the same thing with dating and sex. Like if you just love the process, if you can find a way to enjoy the process, then that'll be more enjoyable than porn, hopefully.
Yeah, and not lose sight of what the end goal is, to actually have connection sexually, physically, verbally with a real, partner, whether that again is a man or a woman.